Throughout the enriched history of the Star Wars galaxy, many non-sentient parasitic creatures have existed to torment or induce their will upon the galaxy, or maybe even just a few small scout teams. Today we shall be delving into a small portion of one of the most powerful, instrumental Sith Lords to ever revolutionize the Sith Order and their ideology, flipping the entire Order on its hull. He managed to change the entire Order's religion, establishing the rule of two, and instigating and abolishing the Brotherhood of Darkness's rule, where all Sith were equal. Darth Bane instigated the rule of two, decreeing that one Sith would be the master, bearing the power. The other would be the apprentice to crave the power. Eventually, the apprentice would surpass the master. This system allowed the apprentice to get stronger every single time, until eventually they would be strong enough to overthrow the Republic and the Jedi Order, achieving the Sith's lifelong, millennia-long goal of finally extinguishing the flames of the light side in the beacon of hope around the galaxy. However, during Darth Bane's life, there was one moment where he thought he was going to die. One moment where not even a Jedi, nor a Sith, nor any sentient being in all of Star Wars, ever in my entirety of Star Wars, hurt or at least severely wounded Darth Bane. No, this was another being. This was a non-sentient parasitic creature known as the Orbalisk. They would not only become Bane's most bitter enemy and weakness, but they would also become his greatest strength and his key to further power. So, let's delve into the ancient lore orbiting the mysterious Orbalisk infection, and the Orbalisk thing, and the Orbalisk species in total. Darth Bane calls and described Orbalisk as creatures that fed on the innate dark side power. An Orbalisk was a parasitic creature that was found on Dxan, that lived in hosts and groups. They lay inactive in caves or other dark places shrouded in shadow, until they found or sensed a suitable host creature on whose skin they would attach themselves in order to feed. Orbalisks, once attached to their host, would eventually multiply and grow, eventually enveloping, encasing, and suffocating their victim in their dense armor. However, the holocron constructed by legendary Sith Lord Freedon Nad, the Padawan of Naga Sadow, contained the knowledge to make armament to prevent the Orbalisk from covering the face, hands, and feet of the host, allowing them to keep his armor hidden from other beings that might not know what they are. Perhaps by nature or as a result of residing on Dxan, which was itself a great focus of dark side power and a nexus, Orbalisks were able to feed off the force sensitivity of dark side entities, multiplying in power. It was said that an Orbalisk's armor durability was such that even lightsabers with their kinetic kyber blades had a hard time penetrating it, making the wearer basically immune to lightsaber attack and essentially all blaster fire and any single other attack. The only weaknesses this armor bore were the exposed joints at the neck and the wrist, but these gaps were so small and miniature that a lightsaber could only barely slice through, and even then would only barely inflict a wound. However, Orbalisk armor was unable to protect the wearer from conducted bolts of electricity, as Darth Bane eventually discovered when he was attacked and assaulted by Umbaran shadow assassins wielding force pikes, causing a small surge of electricity to engulf him. However, the Orbalisk did at least suffer some limited protection from electrical charges and shocks, despite being set to kill. The force pikes did not deliver a strong enough charge to subdue Bane. Orbalisk caused the wearer to feel excruciating agony and pain, fueling the wearer's innate dark side power, and if they were removed or killed, they would produce and release a highly potent and deadly toxin into the host's body. Darth Bane explained to Xanat that they could sense the dark side of the Force within a being. Orbalisk, hailing from the Nico word, suggesting that the creatures might have originated in Kintan. Orbalisks were poisonous to average human beings and caused extreme physical pain and excruciating agony to their host. Darth Bane, however, was able to remain alive by allowing the Orbalisk to feed off his constantly swirling and augmenting dark side energy in his body. In turn, the Orbalist sent a massive surge of adrenaline and other enzymes into his bloodstream, increasing and bolstering his already considerable physical strength and enabling him to draw on even more dark side energy than he had before. His force abilities would grow to be on par with some of the greatest fabled Sith of all, such as Exar Kun and Darth Kaidos, ridiculously powerful Sith Lords. However, he could not match up to the proficiency in which these beings utilized it. However, this cycle would inevitably cause Bane to go into a fit of mindless rage if he was not able to restrain his anger and keep it under control. This was most evident when Xana, accompanied with an old man who had studied Sith artifact, went to attack Bane under the guise with the old man that he would kill him and take the old man as his apprentice. However, in the end, Xana chose to betray him. Eventually, Bane, after dispatching the old man and his shadow guards, went on to Xana, with Hetan being extremely terrified of his Orbalisk armor. The Orbalist also released other various chemicals that enabled Bane to heal almost instantly from virtually any wound, even those inflicted by a lightsaber that managed to penetrate. Because of their benefits to their host, the Orbalists in a sense shared a symbiotic rather than parasitic relationship with Bane, very similar to the symbiotes from the Marvel comic series and the Marvel movies Venom with Eddie Brock. The only electricity proved to be dangerous to the Orbalist and its host if at high enough voltage, potency, and danger. Although Orbalists attached to Bane could harmlessly absorb over 1,000,000 volts per second. When Orbalists eventually died, they released catastrophically potent toxins into the body of the host, killing him and her within days or hours, depending on the strength of will of the individual. This made that Bane survives considerably longer, allowing him to get healed by Caleb, the healer that he had spared years prior. Orbalists could not be removed from the host. The task was most challenging and could potentially kill the host if the Orbalists were removed. The host had to be in extremely good health in order to even attempt and theorize it. The first crucial step to remove a living Orbalist from the flesh of one's body was to send a powerful electric jolt, enough to stun the Orbalist but not harm its host, although its small underbelly resulting in the Orbalist weakening the adhesive it used to bind itself onto the host. After the Orbalists were removed, they could be disposed of by electrocution, such as using force lightning or force pikes, for a period of around a decade. Bane bore the Orbalisk armor that had attached themselves to him as a living parasitic armor. In 1990 BBY, Caleb removed many of the Orbalists using his natural affinities for force and healing. Covering Bane's body was such a method after many of the parasites were killed by the Sith Lord's own force lightning in a duel against 5 Jedi with his Padawan Darth Xana. When the New Republic was founded nearly a millennium later, the Coruscant Livestock Exchange and Exhibition found these creatures along with energy spiders and drox in its arthropod exhibit. Well, my friends, what did you think of this horrifically dark side in nature species, the Orbalisks? Do you think that Darth Bane, while empowered by these Orbalisks, had a power that even eclipsed Sith Lords such as Exar Kun, Darth Kaidos, Darth Malgus, and Darth Vader? The latter, I do believe that Darth Bane surpasses. However, I am unsure about Exar Kun. Please talk in the comments below whether you want to hear any more content revolving around the founder of the Rule of Two in Darth Bane. Goodbye, acolytes. I bid you farewell, and I pray that the Orbalists find you and protect you from the horrors that are to come.